Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. Today I'll be getting into some Christmas DIYs for 2022. Let's get into it. So most of the supplies I'll be using came from DollarTree. And this first DIY, I am using one of these signs. And I will be removing the little galvanized metal word with a little screw. The paper, I just went ahead and used a heat gun and removed it that way and sanded off the rest. I did the same with the second decor piece, since I will be making 4 DIYs with 2 objects. They will be two-sided, reversible. And I'm also using some of Crafter Square stencils. So for this first project, I'm using Hello Hobby's chalk paint in the color black. I'm just going to give this one side a good coat. And when that was dry, I went ahead and used this stencil that says it's the most wonderful time of the year. But before I go ahead and do that, I did paint the basis of these signs just to finish off the look. So taking some painter's tape, I taped down the stencil onto the wood sign so that it would stay in position and adhere, and also prevent any bleeding or bleed through from the stencil. So taking a stencil brush, you'll want to use very little paint and offload your brush before pouncing the paint onto the stencil. This will prevent any bleed through that you get when you use too much paint product. Next, I am taking the same chalk paint color, which is the color Plaster, and just doing a dry brush around the area, the circular part of the decor piece. This actually looks like a snow globe to me, so that's exactly what I'm calling it. It's what I sort of had the idea for with these projects. So taking some of these mini pom-poms, also from the DollarTree, the Crafter Square brand, I'm just placing them throughout this whole piece to add some color and design. And using some hot glue, I just went ahead and glued those pom-pom pieces into place. I also took this piece of wood tree that came in a pack from Crafter Square and glued that onto the bottom base just to add a little more interest. And that does it for project 1. For the next project, I am using the reverse side of that same decor piece, taking some of this paint color Skeleton Key by DIY Paint, went ahead and gave that area a really good full coverage coat. While that was drying, I took this piece of wood decor from Crafter Square. It came in a kit, and painted that in the color Plaster. It also came with that little house, and using some antique wax by Waverly, I went ahead and used a wipe and just rubbed that on and rubbed off the excess. Now the idea I had for this was to sort of make it 3D, and in order to do that, I used a small clothespin and just took it apart, and that will serve as a way for this tree to sort of protrude from this wood base so that it doesn't sit flat and it adds more dimension to this decor piece. Just taking some hot glue, I went ahead and attached that tree to those pieces of mini clothespins. I then used some of this foam mounting tape that came from the 99-cent store and cutting them to size to fit the back of this tree. I just snipped off as much as I needed in order for it to not show through the front side. Again, this is to add dimension and create that 3D effect. The mini clothespins that I used was the basis of creating that 3D look, but in order to have the entire piece sort of stick out a little bit more, I did have to use this foam mounting tape throughout the entire wood cutout. Next, I took that house that I stained and just used hot glue and a little bit of that foam mounting tape to the bottom part of it and stuck that on in front of the tree, just partially covering it because I did want the trees to be visible and this to be off center. Next, I did create a vinyl decal off my Cricut machine and cut out the words "Let It Snow." I don't remember the font that I used, but it's in the it's part of the Cricut design space. Then I cut out some stars. I felt this needed something else to add to it so it wouldn't be too plain looking. And taking some of this Plaster chalk paint, I did use a mechanical pencil, dabbed it into the paint, and just created some snow for the background. I also used another item I had. It's like a paintbrush to create a different size snow. So you can use whatever you have on hand that would create like that circular snow look. I just took whatever I had available to me. Next, I used some puffy paint to create some more dimension and fake snow, adding it to the leaves of the tree or the branches of the tree. And I just continued on dragging some of this puffy paint all along the branches, giving it that snow-like effect. And you could add as much or as little as you want. Using the puffy paint as snow really added the dimension and depth that this piece needed, and I think it finished it off really nicely and took it up a notch. While the puffy paint was wet, I took some fine glitter in an iridescent white color. Now, glitter is personal preference. If you are opposed to glitter, you don't have to do this part. However, I felt like it did make it look a little bit better. It just sort of made the faux snow glisten and stand out a little bit more. So I really like the look overall using that glitter on top of the puffy paint. But again, you can skip this step if that's not your cup of tea. And that does it for project 2. That is the first two-sided tabletop design made out of these DollarTree signs that has the look of a snow globe. I really like the outcome, and I hope you guys enjoyed this one. So project 3, we are taking the same tabletop decor from DollarTree, and I'm using this red color by Apple Barrel paint, just giving it good full coverage. And using one of the Crafter Square stencil in the words "Let It Snow." I'm doing the same step as I did in the other project, just taking some painter's tape and adhering that to the sign so that it doesn't move. I'll also be using the color Plaster and pouncing over the stencil, just making sure not to use too much paint. And this will ensure that you don't have any bleed through. I have to say I'm actually really impressed with these DollarTree stencils. I did have my doubts, but so far I've been having really good luck with them, and they've really been giving me good results. So for $1.25, it's not a bad investment if you want to try your hand at stenciling and you've been afraid or haven't really experienced stenciling anything. I would say definitely give it a shot, especially with their stencils. I'm pretty impressed. Now it's time to reveal the very crisp lines that this gave. So for this one, I wanted to also add some snowflakes or snow in the background. Taking one of my paintbrushes, I just dipped it in the color Plaster and just proceeded to stamp it on to the sign, making sure not to stamp too closely to each other. Then taking my paintbrush, I went ahead and dry brushed some paint around this sign, just giving it more of a finished look. I had these iridescent looking snowflakes from Michael's that I picked up last year. And I was just choosing the bigger of the snowflakes. They came in various sizes. I wanted to add that to this sign for more added interest and cuteness. Here you see that I'm cutting some in half so that I can glue them off center. And just taking some hot glue, I went ahead and adhered these into place. And I really like the effect that it gave the sign. It really finished it off nicely and took this really plain sign to the next level just by adding these little snowflakes. And I'm really happy with how that came out. And that wraps up project 3. I think it came out super cute and creates a big statement. Let me know what you think in the comments. For our 4th and final project of this video, I'm taking this color in Monet's Garden by the DIY paint brand. And again, just giving a good full coverage coat to the other side of the last sign that I created. And again, taking some black paint to paint off the base of the sign. I use one of those craft kits from Crafter Square. It's the Nativity set. From this craft kit, I used everything but the 3 wise men that came in this kit. And taking my antique wax by Waverly, I just went ahead and brushed them on to all the pieces. And here I'm trying to figure out how I wanted to place this or arrange it on this sign. Taking more of that foam mounting tape that I used in the previous DIY, I cut them down to size to fit the backs of the wood pieces, again wanting to create this 3D effect. Next, I went and adhered all the pieces using some hot glue as well as a foam mounting tape that was already placed on the back of these pieces. And I just centered it on the sign. Next, I will be gluing down all the rest of the pieces. To create more of a rustic look, I used some raffia and glued it to the base of this wood sign just below the Nativity. And then I took my scissors and just trimmed off the excess pieces. Next, I'm adding some wording that I created off my Cricut machine. This decal that says, "Oh Holy Night." And I did use gold removable vinyl. Here I'm burnishing the words onto the wood sign. I also added some of these stars, which I also cut from my Cricut, and added them throughout this decor piece. And I felt like this is just what it needed to finish off this project. Next, I took some of this Deco Art Metallics in the color gold, and I wanted to dry brush all around this piece, just sort of accenting the edges. Now this gold is not a very bold color. It's more translucent and it adds more of a sheen to your project as opposed to color, which is fine because overall it did have a nice finished look. I added some of that gold to the base as well as to the nativity scene. And depending on the angle, you can notice some of the sheen that it gives. And again, this project came out very nice and I'm super happy with the overall look. And I hope you guys enjoyed all these DIYs that I had to show you today. Here is a final look at all 4 projects. Again, I just used 2 of DollarTrees signs and created a reversible sign for each of them. So 4 projects total. I'm very impressed with the overall look, and I hope you guys really liked what I had to show you. And please leave me a comment, subscribe if you haven't already, give me a thumbs up, share my videos. I would really appreciate it. And if you like those mini trees that are displayed alongside my DIYs for today, those will be coming up in a future DIY video. So make sure that you are subscribed and hit that notification bell so you are notified when I upload a new video. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day and happy holidays.